I take the day off and I come back to the CDC being in chaos. Since RFK Jr. took over as Secretary of Health and Human Services, the agency has been in turmoil, rocked by resignations, layoffs, and a full-blown revolt over vaccine policies. What is really going on? People are talking about how they feel this administration is trying to harm us, trying to kill us. And at this point, I'm in agreement. Now, for those of us who are tuned into politics, we know how RFK Jr. gets down when it comes to vaccines. We know that he has been a critic against vaccines. In this video, we're specifically talking about COVID-19 vaccines, but RFK Jr. has been a critic of all vaccines for years. And now that he is the head of Health and Human Services, he's now taking action against vaccines. Back in 2025, he announced that COVID vaccines will no longer be recommended for healthy children and for pregnant women. This is a problem. Why? Because the CDC officials were blindsided by this announcement. He had not communicated with them in any way, shape, or form. CDC officials were completely blindsided. They found out about the change not through internal communication, but through a public video that RFK Jr. posted out on social media. He came to this decision by himself. The move bypassed the CDC's independent vaccine advisory panel, a group of experts who traditionally guide these decisions. It's a process that's supposed to be transparent, based on science, and free from political interference. But not anymore, now that Donald Trump is in office. It didn't stop there. RFK removed all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee. Y'all remember when that blew up in the news media? These are the experts who have spent their careers studying vaccines and public health. In their place, he appointed new members, some of whom are known vaccine skeptics. But the purges didn't end there. It didn't end with the advisory panel. Remember Doge? Since Kennedy took office, at least 500 to 600 CDC employees have been laid off, including scientists and researchers who work in infectious diseases and vaccine safety among them. Fiona Havers, a senior CDC scientist who oversaw respiratory virus data, she resigned, saying she no longer trusted that the data would be used objectively to set policy. And she is not alone. At least 4 other top CDC officials have resigned in protest. And since that time, we've had other top CDC officials to resign. Within the past 24 hours, Dr. Deb Howry, the chief medical officer of the CDC, has resigned in protest to RFK Jr.'s firing of CDC Director Susan Monarez. She was fired for pushing back against RFK's childhood vaccine views. In addition to her resignation, Dr. Dimitri has also slammed RFK and has resigned and is quoted as saying, quote, "I have never experienced such radical non-transparency, nor have I seen such unskilled manipulation of data to achieve a political end rather than the good of the American people." End quote. And doing all of these things, you have to ask, what is the political end? Is it to murder? Is it to kill American citizens? In addition to those two, Dr. Dan Jernigan has also resigned from the CDC. This is scary to me. Is it scary to you? The CDC's recommendations influence what vaccines that our doctors recommend, what your insurance will cover, and even what schools will require. When politics overrides science, public trust erodes, and that puts us all at risk. The chaos at the CDC has already had real world consequences. In August, a shooting at the CDC headquarters in Atlanta was linked to anti-vaccine sentiment. Y'all remember that? Documents from the shooter's home showed anger over coronavirus vaccines, and the CDC workers are now demanding that Kennedy denounce vaccine misinformation, which we know he will not do. But the damage may have already been done, with experienced scientists leaving advisory panels stacked with skeptics. The CDC's ability to respond to health crises like a new COVID variant or flu outbreak is now in serious jeopardy. This is scary. Make America healthy again. Maha my behind. RFK Jr.'s actions have created dangerous divides over at the CDC around our nation. The American Academy of Pediatrics has already broken with the CDC, continuing to recommend COVID vaccines for young children. Meanwhile, RFK is pushing forward with his agenda, even as public health experts warn that his policies could lead to lower vaccination rates and more preventable diseases. Remember the measles outbreak? I haven't heard much about the measles outbreak. Is it still an issue? The question is, what do you trust with your family's health? The scientists who have dedicated their lives to protecting us, or our political appointees with a long history of vaccine skepticism? And RFK is accused, it's alleged that RFK is responsible for the deaths of dozens of children over in Samoa because of his ideas of vaccines, how he speaks out against vaccines. I cannot believe that a man with a worm in his brain is heading Health and Human Services. The CDC is supposed to be a beacon of science and trust, but now it is in chaos. It's in crisis. People are revolting. And where does that leave us? This is scary. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Put it down in the comments.
At this hour, folks, we are trying to figure out the job status of the CDC director, Susan Manares. A stunning statement I did not think I would ever have to read. Following reports that she had been fired, Dr. Manares' legal team released a statement making clear that, quote, she has neither resigned nor received notification from the White House that she has been fired. The statement ends, quote, as a person of integrity and devoted to science, she will not resign. There's a bigger statement that's also out there now. You want to read from some
No, go ahead. No, what struck me in this opening paragraph of the statement is now Secretary Kennedy and his HHS have set their sights on weaponizing public health for political gain and putting millions of American lives at risk. That is such an important point to emphasize in all of this, because from the very beginning, this is the fallacy, the lie, the conceit of make America healthy again. Right. It ain't about making you healthy. How do you make someone healthy when you take away their access to vaccines? Right. How do you make them healthy when you deny their access to hospitals and doctors? You're closing down. Your big, beautiful bill is doing some pretty ugly crap to people in rural America. So, can we all just start pretending that somehow we're going to be all right? Because we're not.
Well, I know people ask for hope, but this is the truth. It feels as though, someone said earlier, it feels like they're trying to kill us. And I mean, the way in which our public health system has been compromised, I understand the sentiment.
Well, the question is, how can you trust what's coming out of it,
Yeah.
right? Because at the end of the day, even when there were political actors, right, secretaries have always been political actors appointed by the president, et cetera. You know, sometimes they were donors to the president. They were friends of his. Now you have those people making decisions that have nothing to do with the science, nothing to do with the data, and going on BS that they Googled themselves on the internet, right? And I think and this has been happening for a very long time, the demonization of experts, the demonization of people who care about data, those are the folks that we used to trust. And now you have a country where that can't be the case.
It's the point.
I was going to say, Simone, you put the conspiracy in Americans' homes. So now the lie is at your table. It's in your child's medicine cabinet. It's in the bedroom. I mean, where do we go now to keep ourselves healthy?
I mean, I do appreciate that Dr. Menarez is not backing down. I appreciate
Yes, very much so.
We had the doctor on earlier. I appreciate that folks in the medical community and the scientific community are speaking out loudly and proudly. I appreciate the resignations from the 4 other top officials that said, not on our watch, we will not be complicit here. We always ask for the people to stand up and fight. Like, they are standing. Dr. Menarez is fighting. Lisa Cook is fighting. I think these people are standing their ground, and I think the rest of us need to stand our ground, too.
I just like to see, to your very important point, and y'all have heard me say it at this table a lot, I want to see the leadership of this country, the political leadership, show the kind of resolve and courage that doctors and moms and
who didn't sign up to be political. That is not what they hate that. I know Dr. Dimitri. He does not want to be political. He
Can
cares
we stand
about
with
science.
these folks and support them in this, or are you because you're otherwise part of the problem here?
Well, Bill Cassidy got some answers to the American people and to his constituents. Bill Cassidy is a congressman. He's a doctor. He knows what is supposed to be happening. And if Susan Menarez, as the reporting suggests, and, you know, Dr. Irwin with his own on-the-ground reporting, if Susan Menarez called him to warn him and she was fired anyway and he did nothing about it, well, Louisiana, you might need to pick up the phone and call your congressman and ask him why he is putting you and your family's health in jeopardy.